All right, and we are live. What's up, folks? This is the Sidekick Show, a special episode, Cobra Kai, and I've got a couple special guests with me. I have Timbo Slice, a good friend of mine. He's been on the podcast a couple times, and I've got two very special friends. I've got my brother Chris Ho here. I've known him all my life. Or all his life, I guess would be the phrase. And I've got another really good buddy, Duncan, who I've known since Karate Kid 1 came out in theaters. Known each other for a long time. We reconnected on Facebook semi-recently, so very similar to a storyline in this series. So Duncan, say hello.
Hello, Duncan.
Yes, all right. Thanks. So we're here to talk Cobra Kai. We're going to keep it spoiler light at first in case you haven't seen the series. So if you're tuning in and you're not sure if this series is for you, we're going to try and give you a little bit of guidance. I would say, like right off the bat, I'd say it's not for everybody. I think let's talk a little bit about the series. Tim, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about the general idea of the show, what it's about?
Yeah. So the idea of the show, if you don't know, follows the original 1984 movie Karate Kid, and then its two subsequent sequels, plus technically the next Karate Kid, I guess. It's what they're calling the Miyagi-verse. So this is a show that follows the life 34 years, I think it was, 34 years, something like that, after the events of Karate Kid. You see what's happened to Daniel Larisso. You see what's happened with Johnny Lawrence, how their lives have come about. And season 1 kicks off. You see Johnny Lawrence as a down and out guy. He's kind of like doing like odds and ends and stuff like that. His life is obviously not turned out so good. And he eventually decides to open up a dojo, and he resurrects Cobra Kai. He has one student, and he slowly grows that team over time, much to the chagrin of Daniel Larisso, who is now a successful car salesman with Larisso Auto, selling high-end cars. There's obviously some conflict there. And the end of the first season sees Cobra Kai becoming the champion of the All Valley, what is it called? All Valley Karate Championship.
Yeah,
there it is on Chris's shirt.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good kind of like idea of like in the like of the first season. So it's pretty cool. This is an 80s property that was resurrected into this series, originally airing on YouTube Premium. And maybe let's go over a little bit about like, would you recommend this show to certain people? Is there anyone you would not recommend it to? The first thing I'll say off the bat is this show is better than it has any business being. I don't know if that's the phrase or whatever. Like this totally could have just been a phoned in something, but the effort and heart that the people working behind the scenes have put into this really shows. So maybe Tim, maybe you should take it first and let our new guys kind of follow your lead.
Do I recommend it? Yeah.
Yeah,
like, 100%. I mean, if you liked the original movies, you must watch, and you've probably already watched it, so I don't need to tell you. But for anybody that's here that hasn't seen it or is kind of on the fence on it, definitely got to watch it. It's a great show. This thing, I'll take 1 second to say, they were pitching this show for a long time. They brought it to all the different networks. There was a cool post recently that William Zabka, the guy that plays Johnny Lawrence, posted on Instagram showing back in the day when they were at Netflix trying to get it greenlit by Netflix. And then now, come full circle, here they are on Netflix. So that's pretty cool. There's also YouTube videos that always talked about the fact that Johnny Lawrence was the good guy in those movies and that he was actually the one being bullied and all that. So this show took that and went with it. If you ever watched How I Met Your Mother, for those of you that did, Johnny Lawrence was a big character in like the final season, and Barney Stinson, played by what's his name?
Neil Patrick Harris,
always said that he was the true Karate Kid, and that's what this show gives you. So, I mean, I know Barney Stinson would love it, and we love it. So, yeah, definitely watch it.
Yeah, and you, Duncan, would you recommend this to?
Absolutely. I think Tim hit right on the head there. If you at all, grew up with it or found out about it, later on, if you're born a little bit later, can't miss with it. Really, if you ever enjoyed it, it's a story that's so rich in its mythos that it's a complete gold mine for material, and to actually explore what was the passing reference in any one of the original movies in depth now is just awesome. Now, the only thing I'll say, I suppose, like to the people who are not maybe the hugest or the biggest of fans, is that I think in the first 2 seasons, at least in what I've seen so far, is they're trying to find their stride. It's a bit teen angst heavy. It's a bit they concentrate a bit on the kids too much, I think. But after watching the first episode of season 3 now, you can see that they've lost a couple of characters or just dropped them off. And there's a little bit lighter on the whole teen angst thing, and it makes it a little bit easier to watch. So if you can suffer through a bit of that in the first 2 seasons, the stories behind it they're unbeatable.
Yeah, and the whole teen angst kind of thing is something I've probably talked to my brother about. So let's kick it to him. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, first off, yeah, this is a great idea for sure. This is how you do a remake or a reboot. You kind of reframing the old mythos, like I think Tim was saying, and it's basically you go back and you watch the first movie now and think your mind is totally different now, how you feel about these characters and stuff. So this is like how you do a remake. Like, take notes, Hollywood. This is how you do it. Don't just regurgitate things like previous things. So teen angst thing that I would say season 1 was stellar. Season 2, I was more down on, like you say, the teen angst thing and a lot of the just like these weird misunderstandings that lead to fights. I thought that was kind of phoned in, and when they can take like a second to kind of explain themselves and things like that. But otherwise, if you're a true child of the 80s, this is the show for you. This is I thought it was really clever and how they brought it back and essentially a dead property. Like, it wasn't making any money or anything. Now it's a franchise, right? So
they got 2 movies. So Karate Kid 1 and 2, I think, were pretty generally well received. The third one is kind of messy, and then they brought it back with the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank, and then which I'm pretty sure Tim's going to reference later. And then they brought it back again with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, and it didn't really kind of take off from there into I don't know if they had 3 more movies planned in that thing. And then I was kind of digging through the vaults, and a lot of these 80s movies, Back to the Future, Beverly Hills Cop, like all kind of Terminator, everything, it's kind of just being recycled over and over again. So it was refreshing to see something that was able to use the original actors in kind of move the story forward. Like Tim said, that it takes place like 20-30 years after the first one, and it's pretty much almost real time to what they're telling the story right now. So it's a really cool aspect. They have William Zabaka, the Johnny Lawrence, coming into modern times, but he's kind of stuck in his old ways. So he doesn't use Facebook, doesn't have a laptop, doesn't have a phone, all these kind of like funny things that kind of help bridge that gap between older viewers and I guess younger viewers. So I don't know if there's anyone you would not recommend this to, because I've run into a couple people who've said they watched a couple episodes and they were like, no, it's not, like I didn't get it at all. So so how much does that nostalgia drug fuel your love for this movie? Tim, do you want to take that first?
I don't know. Like, that's a strange thing. Like, if anyone were to even start to say that they didn't like this show, I would just pull a Johnny Lawrence and go, quiet, and then yell at them to force them to go to the internet and watch that show, right? Like, I don't know who doesn't like it. As Duncan was saying, there was a little bit of too much teen angst in it, like a little bit too much focused on the children. Yeah, I didn't like that either. I guess because of my nostalgia, I liked it when it was all the Johnny Lawrence stuff, and then I was rewatching some of the earlier episodes for this podcast, and like it reminded me in that first season how much you really liked those scenes where it was Johnny and Miguel and their relationship. Even in season 3, and I have seen the whole season 3, of course. Those are my favorite scenes. Like anytime it comes to Johnny Lawrence scenes, anytime it comes to Miguel scenes, those are my favorite. So I would say the only thing that you might not like is maybe a bit of that, the kid stuff, a little bit too much, but you kind of see past that. And I would say if you're also not too keen on it, maybe go back and watch the original 80s movies. If you haven't seen those, definitely watch them, because it gives you a lot of context as to what's going to happen. So you want to watch those movies, and then maybe you'll enjoy it more too. I could see if you haven't seen the original Karate Kid movies, maybe things are going to go a little bit over your head.
Yeah, and Chris already touched on it. I don't know if Duncan, you had anything you wanted to say. If there's anyone that you maybe say this is not for you or something like that.
I kind of, well, not kind of, I totally agree with Tim. I don't think there's anyone in the world who shouldn't at least give it a shot. I don't think, I mean, yes, I know it's different. It's difficult for all of us here to, remove ourselves from the whole, to take the nostalgia drug, as you put it, out of our systems. Just because, like, watching the stuff and the little Easter eggs that pop up here and there, it's like it makes it all worthwhile to me. On top of it's the icing on the cake for an already great show. So, for someone who's never seen it, maybe isn't into, like the whole martial arts kind of thing. Okay, maybe it's like, if you don't like martial arts, don't watch it. But even then, I'd still say watch it anyway, because maybe you'll get into it. I don't know, because it's nice. Like, they're well choreographed fight scenes. It looks slick, but even if that's not your thing, the other side of things, the non-violent side of things, is so well put together. Like William Zabka and Ralph Macchio obviously put a lot of care into how they portray their characters. How the chemistry is still there. It's exactly what you want to see. And then they ratchet it up like 10 notches, in both directions. It's just, from a writing standpoint. Like, I'm no author, I'm no screenwriter or anything like that, but it's easy to tell that it was lovingly crafted. It was very well written and extremely well executed. So even if you've never seen it, never seen any of the Karate Kids, I think as like someone coming off the streets, it's you've got about like an 80 to 90% chance of liking it anyway.
Yeah, they do a lot of like kind of flashbacks and feeding in the old footage. So I would be interested to hear if anyone's opinion that hasn't seen the original movies, although it might be very hard to find in our demographic. We'd have to kind of probably go to a younger audience and go, hey, if you've never seen Karate Kid, how did you like this? Did these flashbacks make any sense to you? But you mentioned the martial arts, and the show isn't classified as I think an action show. I think it's actually classified as a comedy drama. And I know my brothers kind of talked to me a little bit about like kind of like the fight choreography and stuff like that. And I mentioned that these are kids doing these fights. I don't know if we would get set pieces like this in a show like Smallville or something like that. I don't know if Chris, like watching some of the newer stuff, if you've changed your that kind of thought process, or if you still kind of are like you want Tony Jaa level kind of fighting in this type of show, or something along those lines.
I mean, yeah, for a TV show, it's comedy. I think the fighting is good. It's well choreographed. It's not too like out there. Like, people aren't doing like triple spin kicks off walls and like flipping people upside down. It seems pretty practical, and it's not. I think it's good for what you're watching.
Yeah, and I'll kick it to Tim. A little known fact: me and Tim actually trained under the same master, Daniel Johns, who is a very John Crease like character. We'll come back to him a little bit later. Are you satisfied with the fight level in this show?
Yeah, man. Dale Johns from
yeah.
ICS, Integral Combat School. Yeah, John and I, the weird way the world works, right? John and I realized that we ended up training under the same guy. That guy, when I started training under him, I thought he was John Crease. Like, this guy was exactly him. If you did anything wrong, you were on the floor in 2 seconds in a wrist lock, begging for your life. Like, this guy was mean as hell. Rest in peace to that guy. That guy was like, I've never forgotten him. No, I thought the fight scenes were really good. Like, Daniel Larisso maybe needs to limber up a little bit, right? Maybe stretch those legs out, stretch those hammies a bit. To get your leg up a bit. But aside from that, I thought the fight sequences were amazing. And like, I was looking up again for this podcast, I was looking up to see how much these kids trained before, like how many of them were martial artists. And it looks like almost none of them really were, which I'm really surprised. That last fight scene in season 2 was amazing. Like, I thought that scene, like the way the camera follows the fights, it's like a very long uninterrupted shot of the scene, and where the different fighters come in at different moments. That was genius. Like, the choreography is really, really good. Spoiler alert, in season 3, again, great choreography. I thought it's really good. I thought the skills of the guys are great. I know we're going to talk about it later, but to me, Hawk, the kid that plays Hawk, that guy's a really good martial artist for sure, or at least a stuntman, whatever you want to call him. But no, these guys have good talent, good skill, And the choreography, whoever's doing it is making it work for these kids for sure.
Yeah. I find it's very imaginative for a TV show, especially.
Yeah.
We'll try and keep it spoiler light. So especially that finale for season 2. Duncan, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to kind of add to the fight discussion.
I mean, I know martial arts myself. I mean, I wrestled a little bit when I was like in grade 9, and a little bit in my 20s, recreationally, whatever. So, I mean, I can at least appreciate, a decent, fight scene. I mean, it looks realistic to me. I mean, like Chris was saying, it doesn't look like they've gone too off the wall. No pun intended. I guess they kind of do. Place, but it looks really slick and it looks really cool. And I mean, the warning was for people who might not like, martial arts and quote unquote violence. It's not really. But for the people who do, they're gonna love, seeing everything here. Because I mean, it's I have friends who trained, who did, karate, who did jujitsu, and all this other stuff, and they're all enjoying it. So I mean, I gotta say, if they're enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it, you're gonna enjoy it too. So yeah, kudos for the fight scenes.
Yeah. Okay.
And to those viewers complaining that I'm not wearing my Cobra Kai Ric Flair, geez, Louise is backwards thing. Here it is.
Yeah. So we're live, folks. If you're listening
out
to this on audio later, so we've got people in the comments. We'll get to you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, people busting Tim's chops for not wearing a particular.
It's too hot. It's too hot.
Present form. They want you to sweat it out, Tim.
I've got my Cobra Kai. And I'll say one quick thing. To Chris's point, like the Dead franchise, it was a dead franchise. Like, I remember when the first season came out on YouTube Red, which who the hell knew what YouTube Red was? Nobody could understand what that was. That year, after it finished, the next Fan Expo in Toronto, I went to, and I was going to all the T-shirt stalls and everything, going, get me a Cobra Kai shirt. Nothing at all. It took like 3 years after that before I could finally get this one. And this was like the one Cobra Kai shirt they had. So, I mean, yeah, like
YouTube Red, I don't know what the heck they mean. Just as a side aside, I mean, they seem to have lost all their good properties, like all 2 of them.
So this is great. So I was actually going to bring this up. Now season 3 has found its home on Netflix now, and now people can actually watch it. I remember watching season 1 and 2 and going, oh man, you guys got to watch this. And people were like, what's it on? YouTube Premium. So it's very hard. Like, so Duncan, do you think the kind of moving over to Netflix was a good move for them? And do you notice any difference? Do we see any budget increase or anything like that? I didn't really notice much, but I don't know if you noticed something.
I mean, that's a good question. I think it was definitely the best move. I mean, given that YouTube Red kind of completely dropped the ball there. I'm not sure the backstory. Maybe there's a reason for it, but they completely dropped the ball on that. Like the fan base was there. It was obvious that it had a really strong following. And for Netflix to pick that up, they're eating they're eating YouTube's lunch. As far as, I mean, maybe it's just coincidence that, season 3 is already, like, their writing is already, coming along. Maybe they're just shedding the baby fat. Maybe they've just kind of found their stride. I can't tell if that's because of Netflix itself or any budget increases or whatever. But if it is, then they've done a bang-up job, because like this is money in the bank for Netflix as far as I'm concerned. Maybe it's not one of those, shows where you keep your Netflix subscription just because the show's on it, but, it could be.
Yeah. Tim, did you have some? You might have had some background information on why they changed from YouTube to Netflix, or
no? So I know they were
because they pitched to everybody, right?
They pitched to everybody. At first, I had heard that they were denied by a bunch of different people, and that YouTube was the one that picked it up. But then later, I was reading some other things that said they were offered many deals. They took the YouTube one, and apparently, the reason why they've switched over to Netflix is that YouTube wasn't committing to a season 4. I mean, again, you have 2 shows on your program. What's to stop you? And the budget can't be that much. Like, I don't know how much these guys are getting paid, and the set pieces are not crazy. There's no real special effects or anything. So, as far as I could see, they went to Netflix because they committed to the 4 seasons and really, or to the 4th season. And really, if you're any show, if Netflix offers you the deal, get over there, right? Like that's where you got to be. So, good for them. Yeah, but to answer the question you asked, Duncan, I didn't really notice any different budgetary impacts to the show. Like the set pieces seemed to be the same. There wasn't anything crazy. It remained true to what we've seen in seasons 1 and 2, which is also nice. Like it looked about the same.
Yeah. I was happy to see it on, like, how Netflix has added that kind of like trending, and they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever is like the hot shows. And it was nice when season 1 and 2 dropped, that those were automatically like really, because I felt like people had already seen it, so maybe no one's going to watch it. But I guess a whole new audience jumped in. So did you notice any difference at all, Chris, like on Netflix or between the two, or just the fact that when it dropped on Netflix, maybe more people were talking about it?
Yeah, like I've only seen one episode of season 3, so I'm assuming from what Tim said, it's going to get better. I remember season 1, it having some bootleg 80s music. I remember that they couldn't afford
the budget.
Hey, you're in for a treat, Chris. Don't worry.
I remember like this bootleg version of Cruel Summer or something like that. I know they got the best around the tournament music right. I'm guessing that cost the whole budget, but I mean, like for season 1, I remember that. And then I would assume Netflix needs content. And this is a fully baked show. Obviously, it has with the fan base. It's kind of a no-brainer for them to pick it up. I think, especially when it's on a platform like YouTube. That's just like you said, sitting there. So, yeah, it's seen the production value. I think, even from first episode, I think it's going up. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a good move, and it definitely I think is widened the audience. I see a lot more social media posts about the show now that it's on Netflix. Even when season 1 dropped, more artwork, more Instagram stuff, and things like that. So I'm very happy that it's got a more kind of widely accepted platform. So I was going to talk about this later, but I'll jump into it now because a couple people in the comments have mentioned that. So we'll kind of start delving into spoilers now. So if you guys haven't watched it and this has intrigued you, then definitely go watch it and then kind of tune back in here after and finish up this video if you don't mind. That would be greatly appreciated. But there's a couple of characters that are no longer in season 3. One of the main ones being Aisha, I think was her name, and another being Stingray. I don't know if anyone noticed anyone else that's kind of missing that was a main character. But there's various reasons why these characters are off, but the main one I think put forth by the creators is that they didn't have a place for them in this particular season, and maybe they could return later. So I don't know if anyone wants to kind of jump in. Do you miss these characters, or did you want to see them right away? I was kind of fond of Aisha and her storyline, and it was kind of cool that she was kind of like being bullied and flipped the whole thing around. Chris, we'll kind of go backwards. Chris, do you miss Stingray? Do you want Stingray back, who was the kind of neckbeard guy who beating up the little kids?
He was the guy who was too old to be in the class. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I thought he was part of one of those shining comedy aspects in season 2. I liked him a lot. Aisha, yes, I think she was kind of like the daughter's name Sam, right? Sam's compass, kind of grounding her, and when she's stepping out of line, she would be there to stop that. So I don't know how they're going to address that season 3. We'll see. But yeah, I like them both. It'll be strange them not being there. I guess they're going into more adult-centric storylines, so that I would, from what I said before, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, Duncan, do you miss these two characters? They are addressed in the episode 1. They're basically addressed right away why they're not there.
Yeah,
which we'll cover in the recap, I guess.
Yeah. Aisha, good character, but if they had to trim a little bit, like we were just saying, like get to a little more adult centric, it's. I'm a little bit surprised they cut her as opposed to some of the other minor characters. But I mean, do I miss her? The whole moral thing gets a bit old with the whole teenage thing. I mean, I think we've established by now what they're after, what they're about. Still, miss her maybe a bit. I'm going to be unpopular though in saying Stingray. I'm glad to see him go. I mean, the comic relief seemed forced, if you ask me. It was very much this kind of bolt on, kind of, hey, look, I'm a fish out of water. Old dude was saying a bunch of young people things and whatnot. It served its purpose for a bit, but I totally agree with the whole finding a place for this person, especially with the ongoing storyline. I'm not sorry to see him go. Honestly, it was good for a couple of chuckles here and there, but he really wasn't adding too much to the show, if you ask me.
Tim, you want Stingray?
Yeah, I want Stingray, of course. I want that. I want the Stingray beard. If I could grow it, I would do that 100%. Yeah, no, I liked him, man. I liked Aisha. I was upset that she was gone. I didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, maybe I should have guessed from never seeing her in any of the promos. But she's a missed thing for me. I feel like she was good because she was that balance between Tori and Sam, right? Like, because she was friends with both and on both sides kind of thing. So she was kind of that middle ground, which I liked. But And the Stingray thing too, I liked him a lot. I did, aside from the comedy, I just thought he was a good character in general, right? Because he brought a different aspect to it. He wasn't one of the kids, so he's kind of a middle guy there. Yeah, I'm glad that they explained that they're missing though, and they gave them a good reason to go. The creators have said that they're leaving it open for both those guys to come back. So I mean, kudos to them for kind of getting rid of characters, not forcing additional storylines. You know, letting the viewer focus on the characters that we want to focus, letting the story focus on where it needs to go, and not be bothered with too many peripheral characters, I guess. So yeah, I mean, whatever you got to do to keep this story tight. Right, you don't have too many episodes per season. We want to get to the good stuff. We want to see what we want to see. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So generally, it looks like we all miss Isha, and I'm actually going to side with Duncan in saying that Stingray. I don't mind that he's gone this season. I thought his storyline, he was funny. He got in on the action at the end of season 2, and I kind of liked that there was a consequence for him getting in there. He's this older guy, and he beat up kind of younger kids, and that's how they kind of add him into the story, that he's, you know, got in trouble for that and he's no longer allowed anywhere near them. So that's why he's not in the club.
Is that a Karate Kid theme, beating up little kids?
Maybe I feel like he got the restraining order
every movie,
and then Johnny Lawrence didn't get the restraining order.
Yeah. Well, and some of the kids, I mean, like Hawk's allowed to literally stand over someone and murder their face till his hands are bloody, and yet there seems to be never, like, he doesn't even get detention for it. So yeah, it's a strange set of rules in the Miyagi-verse.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna hop in the chat for a quick second. Sarah mentions Anthony Larisso. I don't remember which character is that. The younger brother,
the son of Daniel.
I believe he's still in it. I don't know if we see him first episode, but he's still in it. So
I think they had to show him because that guy lost a ton of weight. I think they were like giving him kudos. I mean, that kid. In season 3, when you see him, holy moly! I wasn't even sure it was the same guy.
Yeah, I thought for a second they recast.
Yeah,
but if you see him towards the end of season 2, I feel like he was slimming down, and that doesn't mean he has to slim down. I think why these two characters are missing, and some people are kind of noticed it because they were kind of a little bit of a offbeat, non-stereotypical character. So they did represent a different demographic, which hopefully they kind of get back into the mix. So let's jump into my fun game now. So I'm infusing things from other facets, however you want to say it, of my life. So I in a period of my life, and I think I still am, I was really into the fighting game scene and some of the esports stuff. So what they would do in games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, is they would create tier lists for characters within the game, and the tier list would represent their skill level, represented as if they were being perfectly played, on what level would this character be in a tournament situation. Would it be able to easily beat other characters, meaning they had basically the toolbox to take on different types of play styles and things like that. So I would like to take basically the characters that we see in season 3 episode 1 and throw them into a tier list based on their fighting skill. And then we'll talk about the actual episode 1, season 3, episode 1, and we'll see if we would change any of that. And hopefully, if you guys want to come back and people like this, we'll do some more. So let's pop this up on the screen, and then hopefully you guys can see it. It's not important that you see all the guys on the bottom. So the general idea of a tier list is you would take maybe your strongest characters would be at the top, regarded as S tier, and lower, characters that are only good in maybe specific situations would be on the lower D tier or even lower. So for example, someone like Mr. Miyagi would be an S tier. He would be, the top, be able to beat everyone else easily. So I don't know if we want to throw some characters on. Do we want to do easy characters first, or
I think that's the least debated one, unless you guys.
Yeah. I feel like Mr. Miyagi's up there. There's no touching him right now until some other characters maybe appear. If maybe Miyagi has a master, or Saito, or we do have John Crease in here, but I think I want to add him in a little bit later. So let's start. Let's just throw these guys up for now. I'm going to throw up Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso into the A tier. So generally from left to right. Left would be the stronger character of the two. So I don't know if we maybe let's dive into this debate right now. Who do you think is a more skilled fighter? Do you think it's Daniel LaRusso or Johnny Lawrence?
Is this based purely on the first 2 seasons? Or?
Yeah. So this is based on all our knowledge up to the end of season 2. So the school fight, the karate riot, as it was referred to, which is hilarious, would be our most recent information.
Yeah, I agree with what you got there with Larisso on the left there being
So you think
edge on the right there.
Yeah. So you think Daniel Larisso?
Johnny's lived the gritty life.
Yes.
He's living hard. He's still fighting in bars. Yes. Johnny's signing car leases.
Sober Johnny goes ahead of Daniel, 100%.
Yeah.
Daniel is soft.
Okay. I'll have to add a sober Johnny.
You know what happens with drunk Johnny.
Yeah, so this is where we want you guys in the chat to kind of start jumping in on who you think. But even a quick glance at the chat right now, I'm seeing that everyone is kind of picking Johnny over Daniel at the moment. And I think I'll have to agree that the experience of him.
It's your lower.
Yeah. Oh, you really would put him down here?
Yeah, he's soft, man. Get him out of here.
I would too.
Hey,
this guy's not.
With chains and stuff. So with that beach scene, come on, that was badass.
Those guys were untrained, Duncan.
So the bars. It's like fighting children, like you'd say.
No. I don't know. I'm moving Daniel down too once we get there.
Okay, let's leave it now and let's tackle some of the other characters. So let's jump to the D tier and some of these tertiary characters that we actually don't know too much about. So I threw in Elisa in here for the fun of it. I'm pretty sure she would be ranked as one of our worst fighters in the bunch because she has not exhibited any fighting skill. But the question is, do we take someone like Dimitri? And would he be better than her? In the school fight, he gets in a really lucky series of blocks.
Whoa.
And
well placed.
Yeah? You think so?
Placed. Yeah. No, of course he's got to beat this girl.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think it's depends where you put Hawk, right? Because they fought. And you got an example of them two fighting, right?
Yeah. So we'll jump to some of the other characters and then we'll get Hawk in here. So let's jump to the two younger guys. This is Nathaniel. I'm just gonna throw them here. They're not going here. I'm just so you can see them better. And then this guy's name is Bert.
Not a problem.
No, don't screenshot that. That's not right.
That's not right. All right. So do we think either of these
podcasts forever?
So these guys are obviously kids. They're clearly the youngest of the group. So I feel like just based off of the idea of weight class alone, they're gonna be below Dimitri, is my guess. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
First off, what's the Asian kid's name?
Nathaniel, I believe.
Nathaniel, you'll realize, has Wolverine's healing power. So if we know that, that's going to move him above Bert.
We're pretending we don't know that.
Okay,
so
we don't know that he has some mutant healing?
If in the end of the school fight, he does best Bert, I believe.
Yeah.
And he got him on the floor, and that's when Stingray comes and breaks it up.
I say he's better than... what's his name? Dimitri. I say both these guys are better than Dimitri at the time in season 2.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's get everyone else on the board here. So then we have these other characters here. I believe this is Mitch, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong. And I believe this is Chris.
No one's gonna correct you.
Yeah.
That guy's name's Chris. Awesome.
I don't think Mitch knows his name was Mitch.
So we do see them fight in the end of season 2. They're in the finale. Mitch and Chris actually gets a really good series of blocks and some moves in, and then Mitch, if you guys remember or not, he nails Chris with a spin kick, sending him to the floor, and then he grabs the book. So Chris grabs this book, so you could call that an unfair advantage.
Foreign object, we call it.
Yeah, but he does end up besting a Mitch.
That's a street
if we
fight,
go
man.
according to that.
There's no rules in the street fight.
Hey, all fair level of war, man. It's a fight. It's not a tournament. You know.
Yeah.
There are no rules except for what.
Okay. Says. Yeah. Yeah. So, but do we want these guys up here in the C class, or do we want to push them down to D class?
I think that's fine.
They got weight on their side here, and these guys have proven to be a lot stronger. I would switch those two, but
All right, let's see if anyone in the chat wants to jump in, if they remember this fight, if they feel that the book was an unfair advantage, and maybe he would have, if he didn't have access to that weapon, if he would have lost this overall fight. So let's start getting into, this is where it starts getting kind of dicey here. So let's see. Okay, so we got a bunch of leftover characters here. We do have John Crease. I'm gonna, yeah. Well, left like as in to address. Okay, so we've got John Crease. I think we should leave him a little bit till later. So of these, I guess we call them the students. Okay, so we've got Samantha in here. Robbie's still in here.
These
Hawk
are the
is still in here.
pupils. Yeah.
Okay. Miguel is in here,
these are all
and Tori is in here.
These are
do you think there's a best of this bunch? I feel like it's Miguel is the best out of all of them.
He beats that guy twice. I forget the son's name. Sorry.
Robbie, yeah.
Essentially beats him twice. I know the guy was hurt a bit, but MMA math.
I like Hawk. I like Hawk best of all of them. I think Hawk beats Miguel because he's got get
out of town. No, get out of town.
What? Hawk's got a mean streak, man. Hawk's got the badass tattoo. He's got the mohawk. And he's got the edge. I feel like he's got a little bit of a mean streak. That the same reason why I put Johnny above Daniel. He's got that little bit, and we haven't seen them.
Well, they both the same tournament in the All Valley tournament, right? So I mean, with Miguel winning and Hawk not winning, I'd say that gives Miguel the edge.
Yeah, I think Hawk is undisciplined at this point in time.
Oh, definitely.
I think he has the potential, but he doesn't have the smarts to be as good as these other guys yet. So let's leave so let's throw Hawk under Miguel for now. Do we want to get to the ladies yet, or do you guys want to get to Robbie?
That's a hard one because it's not like you see a lot of there's no male female or whatever kind of fight, so it makes it really difficult. I think it's almost apples and oranges. I mean, how would we compare those two? I mean, I just based on volume of fights, then you'd almost have to put Robbie in there, but I don't know because she's pretty badass too. So,
yeah, Tori's pretty ruthless.
Yeah.
I feel like Tori
over Sam. Yeah,
is definitely
John, how dare you, John? I'm exiting this.
Tim, know your role. I know you're a fan of Hawk.
Hawk's beating Miyagi in about 5 seconds.
He's not there yet. Maybe he gets there later in season 3.
Hawk gets kicked by Dimitri into the
Hawk actually gets beat by this D-tier character.
Yo, that guy just
lucky.
Strength of opponents. That's low, man.
Pretty bad.
Okay, so this is where we're gonna need your help in the chat, folks. So let's get so a lot of people are like, I generally think Tori, I don't know, it's hard to say because Samantha, does she win the fight between her and Tori in season 2? I believe she does, even though Tori cheats and she's got the claw thing going on.
Was there a winner?
That's a tough one.
I think Sam does spin kick her over a railing onto the stairs, but they're at ground level, so that's why she doesn't get as injured like Miguel. And she is trained potentially at birth by Daniel Larisso. We still are unaware of Tori's path.
Call him Soft Danny.
Soft Danny. All right. So
I'm just trolling. I know. He has to be up there for the sake of the writing of the show. I know that.
Yeah. All right. So I think generally, if we look at the chat, a lot of people are saying Tori over Samantha. So we're gonna use the mob to help us decide this, and we are gonna put Tori ahead of Samantha. Because of the nature of the show, because we have 2 stars of the show, especially seasons 1 through 3, Miguel and Robbie, I feel like these 2 guys, given the most information, are going to be here. Just given the most information of these 2 characters right now, I don't know who's better. I don't know if that's up for debate. Chris said basically that Miguel is beaten Robbie twice. So yes. Robbie is potentially this.
Yeah, there's no way he would go above Miguel.
But hold on. Upon instant replay.
Yeah. Look at this guy going to his phone.
I forget, but doesn't Hawk only lose to Robbie because he gets disqualified? Because he kicks him in the back? He doesn't actually lose the match.
he does pull a DQ. Stop presenting your case for Hawk.
I'm on Hawk fans for life, and I think
He's fan club. Come on.
yeah. Well, I'm the president, but yeah. So I don't know. No, but hold on. But he doesn't lose to him though. We got to remember that.
Yeah, we'll keep it in mind. But the skills
he's
that
a good team
demonstrated in
player.
the
He
show.
DQs himself, so Miguel has a better advantage. Yes, that he's a good team player. Yeah.
See, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so Stu's jumped in and he says Miguel is. I think generally the general consensus is Miguel is at the top.
Oh yeah.
Of the students, talent wise, skill wise, right now.
He's the best around.
I guess natural talent. He has the most natural talent. He is the best around. I don't know if you have your guitar, Duncan. If you can give us a couple bars of some best around, but
Next time.
yeah, okay, we'll save that. We'll save that for a second episode.
For next time. Yeah.
We'll edit it in post. Add it in later.
Because Tim's logging in under one of his pseudonyms, Gordon Mullane, and he's saying Tim is right.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, he's typing, giving it boosting.
That's a
up.
stock file image if I've ever seen one.
No.
Look, here's another one of Tim's account.
Yeah,
Sarah with the same last name.
I couldn't think of anything different, so I use that. I mean, what am I supposed to do? That's my sister and her boyfriend. Hey guys.
I think this is not bad so far.
I could debate putting Robbie lower, but
yeah,
maybe
Tori is more.
Do you want to fight?
Yeah.
There is a point where Miguel tries to, I think, break things up, and Tori basically kicks his ass. I feel like during that school fight.
Yeah, they do. They fight to kind of a standstill when they first meet too.
That's because
forgot
Miguel
about that.
is soft and Miguel's too gentle spirited, kind.
But then Miguel beats Robbie, so there you go. MMA math. You got to put Tori higher.
Yeah.
So if we put Tori higher here.
Yeah.
Let's do that for now, just for the sake of. I actually like the look of that right now. I know Tim Hawk is a glass sword right now. He's not.
Hawk doesn't beat Sam.
I don't think so. I think Sam would wreck Hawk right now. She has greater discipline.
Kind of indifferent to Sam's fighting, so yeah, I would support putting him above her.
I'm gonna call Hawk right now.
John,
get him on this call.
The Dimitri kick into the stand really hurts his case, man. Like, if we're gonna rank Dimitri that low,
I feel like that hurts his case.
We're kind of hoisted by our own low ranking of this guy. We can maybe move him up.
Dimitri's moving on up.
Put him at the top of the D tier.
I feel like he should be the top of the D tier.
A good kick on Hawk beats all three of these other people.
Yeah, he spin kicks Hawk and sends him flying into a trophy showcase, absolutely demolishing Hawk's rep in school. So let's throw Crease in the mix. So John Crease, does he go up here with
at this point
with Miyagi?
Season 3, episode 1, yes.
Yeah. He's hella intimidating. Daniel backs down to him and allegedly takes the high road to not fight. But I feel like that's talk for I don't think I can beat this guy, so I'm gonna take the high road.
Yeah, based on what we know now, I think that's where he belongs.
Is Crease potentially better than Mr. Miyagi, or is it sacred? This
all you need to do to beat Crease is you go like this, and then you go like this, and then he's done. Like he smashes his hands twice.
I think Miyagi should be on the tier by himself. I think I don't like this guy being on the tier.
So maybe something like this.
Yeah,
I would put him behind Daniel.
You would put Crease here?
No,
I think so.
No way.
I know he hasn't shown anything like other.
The problem is the problem is we have no information on whether Crease, if Johnny can even take Crease. Obviously, we know Johnny is probably scared mentally in a father-son relationship of fighting Crease.
That's that's the mental warfare. That's part of his game.
Yeah,
True.
I feel like given the mentality, I feel like it should be like this for now until we receive new information.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So are we happy with this? Tim, don't talk about Hawk right now. Are we relatively happy with this?
It works for me.
Yeah. All right. So for you
I
audio
feel like
listeners,
C and D is interchangeable. Like you could probably put everyone on that same line. I don't know.
they could
No,
potentially.
These
be
two
different.
other guys have, I don't know. Yeah, I guess the weight class thing you said.
No. C's got the weight on them.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And,
Put it.
and
Yeah.
the aggression.
I just
Yeah.
don't recall seeing much from those two guys, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. We'll see as the series progresses. So my idea for this tier list is that as the season 3 progresses, as things change, as characters get added into the mix, we can update this list. So for you audio listeners, we have got S tier, which is the top tier, and that is Mr. Miyagi. A tier, so the next tier down, we have John Crease, Johnny Lawrence, and then Daniel LaRusso. And then B tier, we have Miguel, Tori, Robbie, Samantha, and then Hawk, much to Tim's chagrin. C tier, we have Chris, and then Mitch. And then D tier, we have Dimitri. And then based on kind of the idea of weight classes, we have Nathaniel, and then Bert, and then we have Annalisa, who may or may not surprise us in this season. Who knows? But I feel like she deserves to be on there. So that's our tier list. Hopefully you guys had fun with that, and everyone watching had fun with that. Stu does mention if
Let's move Hawk. Let's move Hawk up one past Samantha. Let's do that.
You guys,
Oh my God! Here we go.
who agrees with that?
I
Who
just
agrees with that?
look. I just transferred Chris some money, so he can't. I mean, he can't send it back.
I feel like most people are down on Sam, especially going to season 3. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can put him above Robbie though.
Okay,
I know.
I'll take
I
what I
think-
can get.
How much was that transfer?
Duncan wants in on that.
No, we don't have to revisit it. John already read it out. We don't have to revisit it. It's just
Yeah. Okay. Move him above. Yeah. Move him above Sam. He's got the evil streak. Same as the Crease.
Is everyone agreeing with this? Duncan, are you okay with this?
I'm on the fence. I don't know. It's tough. I'm trying to be as objective as possible, but it's
All right. Anyone in the chat that's not a Phantom Tim account, would you like to see Hawk move above Samantha, based on skill that we've seen in the show? So that's not to say Samantha is a bad fighter.
Keeping my
In
hands
the show.
up so you see it's not me typing. All right.
Samantha has
Hands
kind
in
of
the air,
been a little bit of a mystery, especially during season 1 and season 2, of her actual skill level. She actually wasn't even fighting in season 1, I believe. She does a spin kick at the end as part of the reveal. So season 2 is where some of her skills come into play. Stu mentions that the Crease is old and we're not factored in. So is Miyagi, and Miyagi kicked pretty much everyone from Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. And
ass.
in fact, I think Daniel is actually the same age as Mr. Miyagi was when he, like back in the original movie, when he met Daniel. So I mean, let's just be careful with the whole ageism thing there.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Cool. So it looks like
We lost.
I think
We're getting-
for story purposes, Crease, I guess should be there. He has to have some clout.
I think
now.
'cause-
I don't know what's
yeah.
going to happen in season 3. Obviously, maybe they're going to fight and it's all proven out. But I think for the mystique of him and the storytelling, him being there is fine.
his mental game would be part of his skill set, I believe,
He
too,
did
as well.
take,
His intimidation.
he did take Johnny's whole business pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He did snipe that Cobra Kai.
He's very business savvy.
Yeah.
Old noggin.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a bunch of people. I don't know if they're all Tim's people though. Stu does say Hawk is in the right place.
Tim has
I feel like we should leave this.
All
I
right.
think this is good as is.
Yeah.
We'll leave it for now.
We'll revisit.
All right.
Yeah.
Tim
We'll
has seen
revisit-
season 3. Maybe he's got some insider.
That's right.
Yeah, you might be.
Although
biased
Duncan does
on-
too, and he's not helping. But he's staying to the rules. He's staying to the rules. That's why. He's very Miyagi though.
That's the way she goes.
All right, so let's. So now that the tier list is done, and we're going to go back to that in a second, folks. Let's get to season 3, episode 1, and just talk a little bit about that, and we'll kind of wrap this up. We're coming up on an hour here, folks. So thanks again for tuning in. So season 3. I don't know if anyone wants to tackle a summary. I know it's going to be hard for Tim and Duncan because they've watched the whole season, so I don't know if they know where the episode 1 ended and kind of
It's
began.
impossible to forget. It's just remembering all the details in it, right? Because I mean, we come into the season, the first episode where Miguel is in the he's in the coma there. You can see he's trying to struggle to get out of it and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you guys like the idea of that kind of like mental fight between that? I was actually going to try and add the that mystery fighter to this tier list, but I couldn't actually find out who it was casted as. So we'll get to that in a second.
He
karate fights out of his coma.
Yeah. Cool. Yes. so generally it was a cool idea, right? I think we're in general consensus there. So I guess we can try and like make a group effort of making the summary. So Duncan did a good job. Miguel's in the coma at this stage. Johnny Lawrence is in the pits of despair, getting his ass kicked, hanging out in bars again. I love it when the cop.
I gotta jump in. That was, I mean, I know it's for anyone who's seen the original movie, they drew the immediate parallel, but him going into the parking lot and pulling pretty much the same, fight as Crease and Miyagi.
What's the window
in reverse because he's drunk and he gets his ass kicked. That was pretty slick. I'm sorry, I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I think that's great on that character, William Zabaka or whatever, that he's willing to basically take the beats as well as dish them out. So it's kind of hard when you have an invincible hero. So he does get wrecked a lot of the time. So I don't know what other kind of beats from the first episode. I'll kind of just throw out what I kind of had. So Johnny kind of stepping into his whole father figure idea, wanting to be there for Miguel. And then there's also the story thread of Daniel's business falling apart. And then there's the idea of Sam being kind of like a PTSD type thing of returning to school. And then they kind of towards the end of the episode, Danny and Johnny team up on a quest to find Robbie. So I don't know if there's anything significant that we could pick up from this first episode that we want to kind of
one thing was the consequences of the brawl.
Yes.
Basically Miguel in a coma for 2 weeks, almost dead basically from this, brawl. I think the consequences
Robbie on the run.
Yeah.
Stingray being kind of like pushed out because of the fighting kids and kind of I feel like in this show that the theme of actual consequences coming up is a cool idea. Tim, I don't know if you got anything you want to add to this particular episode.
No, man, just the last scene where, I mean, the last shot, if I'm not mistaken, the last shot is when Miguel's eyes pop open, right? Yep. I just like that. It's so cliche, right? It's like a soap opera, right?
Very Jon Snow, right?
Yeah. So when his eyes pop open in that scene, and then that hits the credits, I like that, man. That was a good ending. It was a good first episode.
I like that they got right to it, right to the team up. That's what you've been waiting for 2 seasons, and they got right to it in the end of episode 1. I mean, I know, who knows? Maybe there's some weird misunderstanding, and they'll break up next episode, but
I feel like that's inevitable.
Seems
but
like
that's a story trope for every single show you can kind of think of. I don't know if you guys have got any comments or criticisms of that first episode. I did find it funny that the school all of a sudden installed metal detectors. I don't know when metal was associated with karate.
Well,
I don't.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that would be my last kind of thought about it. Is we'll see as the season goes on. It's almost it's not satire, it's not parody, but it certainly kind of gets a little bit down the whole, bullying / and in schools taking things to ridiculous, idealistic, heights. There's later episodes where it kind of really, doubles down on that. But that, whatever in the first episode is like, okay, like the measures they're instituting to help curb, violence and karate riots or whatever. It's so OTT. And so ridiculous that it's like, okay, I'm sure maybe kids of recent can relate to that. They've seen that happen, and they're thinking, well, how is this stopping anything? Because kids are pretty smart people. They'll get around it. So I found that kind of like interesting, because they could have really played it up even more. I think, because like I said, wait till the future episodes, it gets really just ridiculous. And you can't help but you go, right. But it serves a purpose. So like I said, it's not quite satire, it's not quite parody, but it's almost to that level.
Yeah. I remember like when they opened the show, there's a bunch of hippie kids, and they sing this really kind of whack ass song. I don't know if Chris, if you remember the lyrics for that song, but it was something about let's get brunch and hang out with our friends or something silly like that. Like do you like kind of like little moments like that they're kind of throwing in?
That was good. I think that's the girl from the second season. She's like, can't we all get along? Yeah, and she gets beat up or pushed or something like that. I liked it in the auditorium when Danny and his wife go and they're like debating what to do, and somebody from the crowd yells, they're like, "Oh, I heard you were the bully," and it's like very meta. And I was like, "All right, that's good."
Yeah, that was so funny, and I remember messaging my sister, or when I first talked to my sister after the first episode, that was the line that I was laughing at the most, and we talked about, because that's what those YouTube videos were, right? Trying to convince you that he was the bully, and that guy had obviously watched the video, so I thought that was great. And I think I do like that they had the like hippie group or whatever that were trying to go in against it. And in terms of the metal detectors, I'll just say the school had to do something so that you could see that there was some sort of ramification of what happened in that school fight. Like they had to do something, and so that was it. And that helps the viewer see that like the school has now had to adopt something.
Yeah, but they adopted that new program. What was it called? Like hugs or something. And then the one guy's like, "You're gonna hug the students." No, it's like the students are gonna hug each other. This might be the birth of a new genre, hug fighting, where you're actually in full hug, and you're actually also fighting at the same time.
Little rabbit punches on.
So watch out, gun fu. It's hug fighting is coming. What about Duncan? Did you like the scene where Johnny kind of sneaks into the hospital and he's wearing the lab coat, and you're like, are they really going to go this way? And then they kind of like take you to the other path.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Actually, I'd almost forgotten about that. I remember distinctly thinking that, like, okay, this is so tropey. Like this is like, oh, he's going to sneak in as a doctor. Oh, well, let me guess, he's going to get caught or something like that. And then even before he gets a chance, and he's in the bathroom, he's like, okay, he just takes it off. Like, this is a more Johnny-esque way of doing this. That was really good. That was really good.
Yeah. I think that goes to the kind of the clever writing that feels like this is not a first draft. This is like their 10th draft, because they just keep working on it and honing it and coming up with like really good ideas and kind of like callbacks. So I don't know, Tim, did you have any other favorite moments of this episode, or any criticisms? Did anyone have any criticisms? Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
No criticisms. I would say, like, I'm pretty happy with this show overall. I mean, we've watched a lot of bad stuff together, John. Like, so if anybody that watches our podcast or John's podcast knows, man, we watch a lot of crap for everybody so that you don't have to. But this show is not one. This was a really good show. The only other thing I'd say is as good as it was when he steals that doctor's jacket or whatever, but I just thought, what a jerk he is, because after he can't use it, it's got the guy's credentials and he throws it in the garbage. Like, can you just not leave it for the guy? Like, even decent criminals will take your wallet and throw your credit cards and stuff back in or your ID back in the mail. In the old days, criminals would do that, right? They had a sense of code, but poor Johnny, he just throws it into the garbage, and I was just laughing. Poor guy.
Any criticisms, Chris? I know you're the first episode is going to be very fresh in your mind because you just watch it and you haven't watched anything preceding.
I would criticize myself for watching just one. I feel like I'd have more to talk about if I had more there. But the first episode, it's setting everything up. Again, I liked how they got right to it, the team up that we're all waiting for at the end. Other than that, can't think of anything off the top of my head. Well, one thing was the nurses or the doctors that ran away from him when he showed them more injuries. I was kind of like, why would they just run away if he's like internally bleeding or hemorrhaging? And then they're like, oh, I guess he scared them or something, and they just ran off. I was like, okay, sure. He needs to get to Miguel. It's good.
All right. So
everyone keeps asking, are you family? Why not just say, yeah, I'm an uncle? He's telling the truth. Like, why just say, yeah, I'm his uncle, like whatever, or I'm the father-in-law or something like that.
It would have been an easier way to get in than smashing your head open.
They mangle his face and like tell.
That's
the
Johnny
line.
does.
He won't lie. That's the line he won't cross. He just won't lie about being related to this kid.
It's typical Johnny. Like, use his head. Like, literally uses his head in the other sense. Than like actually thinking about. That's action first, think never.
It's strike first. That's Cobra Kai. You don't think first. You strike first, and you just bam, just headbutts it.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So that's good. We're coming up on an hour here, folks. I was gonna update the tier list, but I think we should actually maybe save it for the middle season kind of recap. So if you guys want to come back for like maybe up to episode 5, and we'll do some adjustments. I think the only adjustment would be Miguel's in a coma, so he kind of drops down. And Samantha is suffering from the PTSD, so maybe she does now drop below Hawk in fighting ability. I did want to discuss one other thing. So I was racking my mind with what else in the 80s. I kind of briefly mentioned the Back to the Future, all these other movies that kind of came back, and I came up with the idea of Bloodsport. And of course, this morning I think Boss Logic posts a picture, so he kind of stole my idea of Kumite, an idea for a Netflix series exploring the Jean-Claude Van Damme's Bloodsport, expanding it maybe into a Netflix series or something along those lines. I don't know, would you guys want to see something like this? Is it something that could be done if any ideas, like Van Damme is still around, he can still show up. Bolo Young or Bolo Leong, he's being listed under 2 different names, could show up, and a lot of the other kind of cast of characters. I forget the guy whose name played Jackson, which was like kind of the brawler, the burly man. Maybe he could show up. So maybe Tim, would you want to see a Bloodsport Netflix series done in the Cobra Kai style?
And we're gonna take the actual actors, I
think you would probably copy as much of the Cobra Kai formula as possible,
which means getting the original actors,
Jean-Claude Van Damme and those guys back. Yeah,
that's tough. I mean, for whatever reason, I mean, Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence, they've all maintained a pretty good look. I guess they were so young back in those days too that they haven't gotten sold. Although I'm so shocked at how old these guys are. Yeah, they were really young kids. So I don't know that we can do Bloodsport. These guys might be really, really old, or I don't know how much. I mean, a lot of those guys you mentioned were on a lot of juice. So I don't know what happens to their bodies now with all that. But I mean, that was a great movie, man. How many times have we all watched that movie, or all those Jean-Claude Van Damme movies? You could take any of his movies and do this. But yeah, I mean, I'd just be worried about what these guys look like. And also I feel their egos for these guys, because those guys were like badass martial artists, like badass dudes in real life, right? Yeah. So I don't know that they'd be willing to come back and do something that kind of, takes a little bit of a
like William Zabaka is willing to take those hits and lose fights and come off as like a washed up kind of hero. Yeah.
So I don't know whether these guys would be willing to do that to themselves, and like they're who they are as a person, and put themselves in that vulnerable situation. So I don't know. It takes a certain actor that's going to be able to do this, and these guys have done it right. It's going to be a hard formula to follow.
Yeah. I know. I know, Chris, you're a Joe Rogan fan. I don't know if any of the other guys are, but he has kind of talked on his podcast about Van Damme and possibly a cocaine problem, and comparing his look to, I believe Tom Cruise is around the same age. The difference.
Go down that road.
The difference in those looks. Yeah. So I don't know. Would you watch, like, my brother is not as into, I guess, the Van Damme era as me. I know he was forced to watch all those movies because I watched all of them. I don't know if you would be willing to watch.
I watched a lot with you. I like Van Damme. It's just a matter of a fresh take, right? Like if you just revisit Bloodsport again, you can probably find a Bloodsport 2 straight to DVD release with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. It's just like a rehash and things. The way that the reason Cobra Kai works so well is it's the fresh take, right? The kind of twisting of the original storyline to kind of make you see like, okay, maybe there's another side to this, and then the whole underdog of kind of Zabaka, we talked about him a lot, but he's unequivocally the star of this show, like the shining star of this show, and he makes it. Over Daniel. I'm really down on Daniel, you can tell, but way over Daniel. He's completely unlikable to me. But yeah, exactly. So you would just need someone to kind of have a fresh take. I don't know if you can just have a tournament and have a bunch of fighters and things like that. I think that's been done many times. So
yeah,
but, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, as much as a fan you are, he had his own show. Maybe it was a bit too early. And it was kind of meta in the way that he was a movie star, he was a secret agent, something like that. I only watched the first episode. I thought it was good, but me and first episodes, but I think he had his chance, and it would kind of be a rehash. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think Daniel's kind of redemption arc is coming up in this season. I think Tim and Duncan might know what's coming up. But there's definitely more exploration into that Daniel character. But yeah, the show is talking about. Was it called Jean-Claude Van Damme something? It was a.
There was the movie JCVD.
Yeah,
there was that one where he's
Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
robbery.
Yeah, he did a show called Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Yeah, I think it was Amazon. I think they
where he literally plays himself. I don't know if Duncan, if you watch that show at all, but would you want to see this character, Bloodsport Frank Dukes, return, or you're done with that era?
Well, that's the thing, right? I could go either way. I was never I enjoyed the movie. It's fun to watch. Good popcorn movie. I haven't seen that movie probably in about 5 or 10 years, and only because it popped up on cable one day and I had nothing else better to do. But that said, like rewinding to the beginning of this, our conversation, the whole, Cobra Kai thing works because of, like you said, you guys were saying not just the formula, but that formula being this, having like this world that's, steeped in mythos, this world building that they've done. Now take it to Bloodsport. It's tough to take that movie seriously, like past the popcorn movie. So it could be a good opportunity to kind of take some of those passing references and the backstories and, character, plots and histories and do something with that. The thing is, will it catch? Will it have cachet? I don't know. I mean, sure, with you guys, maybe. I have a chance, but I don't know. I mean, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme, he'll do anything, right?
He needs that money for the coke, right?
No, he's off the coke now, but back in the day, that's
It's
why he
the
doesn't look
the long-standing effect is what.
Allegedly. Who knows? I'm quoting Joe Rogan in his conversation. But but yeah, I think I'm kind of with you guys. I'm kind of like lukewarm about it. Like Frank Dukes, the guy that Bloodsport was based off of, has been kind of a lot of controversy surrounding whether what he's done is legit or not. He did go on to write, I think, work with Van Damme on The Quest, which kind of didn't quite work out, and he did work on Van Damme on Lionheart, which I think I'd actually probably rather see a Lionheart redux or something like that. But yeah, I think that'll wrap up our Cobra Kai season 3 episode 1. Season 1 and 2 kind of summary impressions. Unless anyone's got anything last minute things they want to kind of jump in with that maybe we didn't talk about.
Nice.
No. Yeah, no, great. All right, cool. So first of all, thanks for everyone in the chat. Mostly Tim's family, it looks like. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening live. Thank you guys for doing this for me. Let's go and find out where we can find more. So Tim, I know we can find you on Instagram and other methods. How can people follow you and learn more about you?
Yeah, _Timbo_Slice_XX on Instagram, and you can also see me at the curb picking up stuff from Heroes World. Go support your local business. Hit up John for all your needs, man.
Yes. Thank you. So Duncan, where can we find you online other than Facebook, or are you doing anything else? No.
Twitter account's been idle for the past 4 or 5 years. I'm not much on social media these days. Maybe one day.
Okay, so we have the exclusive. We have the exclusive Duncan here. So
a rare appearance.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll be coming on my show a little more often, which was fantastic. For those of you who don't know, I probably haven't talked to Duncan in person for I don't know how many years, like a couple decades maybe. Yeah. So this is a fantastic way to catch up. My brother, I know, is not big on the social media, but is there anywhere people can follow you? Or
yeah, I have an Instagram account, but I only use it for entering sneaker raffles. So Instagram, maybe I'll post some more stuff now that I'm on here. But yeah, this is really my only outlet for this kind of stuff. So
yeah. So me and my brother got some hot takes. I feel like we could have filled our own little kind of show. The whole brothers doing random stuff. We always find fun ways to do things. Yeah, I think that's great. So here, if you're following this on the YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. So when we come back and do part 2 and part 3, and then maybe when season 4 drops, we can get the gang back together again and do this. If you're going to be listening to this on the audio podcast, you can look for Heroes World Podcast or the Sidekick Show, and you can subscribe, give us 5-star rating, make sure that keeps going, and definitely share, like, comment, all that kind of good stuff. So thank you again very much, guys. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. We'll hopefully see you again. So what do? We strike first. We strike hard. No mercy. Thank you very much, folks.
That's right. See you guys.
Yes.